We're heading into Katiyan weekend, so get some quiet while you can. This will be your foundation as you go through the weekend. There'll be a lot more noise, a lot more activity. Some people resent that, but that's foolish. The monastery is a place for all kinds of good activities, and people come and enjoy being generous. That's something to be appreciative of. And we can learn from them. Years back when social scientists went to Thailand to study Buddhism, they'd read up on the basic Buddhist texts, and they learned that the Buddha said that life is suffering. Then they went to Thailand and found Thai people really enjoying their religion, enjoying the practice of going to the monastery, being generous, observing the precepts, meditating. And they came to the conclusion that the Thais didn't understand their religion. The problem with that was with them. They didn't understand the religion. After all, when the Buddha talked about suffering, he didn't say life was suffering. He just pointed out there is suffering in clinging, and it's possible to stop that suffering and to find the ultimate happiness. And the happiness that the Buddha taught was not only at the end of the path, it's all along the way. You can enjoy being generous, you can enjoy the precepts, the sense of well-being and esteem that comes when you know that you've done something good. You enjoy spreading thoughts of goodwill. It lifts your mind. After all, it's one of the Brahma Viharas. Notice, the Buddha didn't call it a Manusa Vihara, a dwelling for human beings. It's a dwelling for Brahmas. That's a high level of Deva. But it's something we can attain in our minds. And that's just part of the path. And our ability to find joy in following the path is an important part of the practice. As he said, if you can delight in developing and delight in abandoning, it's going to take you all the way to the end of the path. So appreciate it when other people are delighting in their generosity. Have some respect for them. Because if you can't have respect for other people's good actions, it's going to be hard for you to have respect for your own. And this will be debilitating. As the Buddha said, thoughts that I am a good person or I am a bad person are the result of craving. In other words, they entail suffering. If you try to prove to yourself that you're a good person, you can find all kinds of reasons for saying, no, that's not true. You can just tear yourself down. But if you notice that good actions really are good, and then you engage in those good actions, then you've got some proof that you've got at least some hope. The Buddha saw that the cure for self-hatred is not just to try to develop a blanket self-acceptance. It's to do good things and believe in those good things. Rejoice in those good things. That's where your worth as a person lies. We hear so much about blanket acceptance these days, that everybody should be accepted without judgment. And the Buddha saw there was a problem in his time with people judging one another in terms of caste, which is the Indian version of racism. He pointed out that was foolish. But he didn't say people should not be judged at all. If you want to have a genuine sense of self-worth, it comes from your good actions. And some people don't necessarily have a good history of good actions, but if they really are sincere in trying to find happiness, there's hope. That's what the Buddha would focus on. Because after all, think of him coming from his awakening. One of the first things he saw as he surveyed the world is that beings were on fire. The fires of passion, aversion, and delusion. So he didn't see it as his duty to accept them. He saw it as his duty to make a change. He was really on a mission after he gained awakening. He had found the way to true happiness. He wanted other people to find that way as well. So he focused on their intentions. Those are the people he could teach, the ones who had the intention to really be serious about finding happiness, a happiness in a way that's harmless, and a happiness that is harmless and will be long-lasting. Those are the people, as he said, that could be tamed. He was unexcelled trainer of those who can be tamed. Not everybody. He had goodwill for everybody, but in terms of the time he had to teach, he focused on those who would be receptive. There are actually cases where he wouldn't teach people. He had his standards for when he would get into a debate with someone, and there are several cases in the canon where he basically said, no, there's nothing here to debate, because he saw that the person wasn't sincere in trying to find the truth. As he said, he was like that horse trainer who, if the horse wouldn't respond to gentle treatment, wouldn't respond to harsh treatment, wouldn't respond to a combination of the two, the horse trainer would kill the horse to maintain his reputation. The same way the Buddha said he would kill those he couldn't teach. The horse trainer, of course, listening to this was shocked, but the Buddha explained he would just not teach that person. So it's not the case that the Buddha practiced acceptance for everybody. And he didn't advise us to practice acceptance for everybody. Have goodwill for everyone, but when you look for people you're going to associate with, he had standards for those who are eager to listen to the Dhamma, who listen to the Dhamma and then think about it, then practice it. Those are the people he said you should associate with. Look for people you can emulate, people you can learn from, especially as to concerns what is skillful and what's not skillful. How to have conviction in the Buddha's awakening, how to be generous, how to be virtuous, how to develop your discernment. These are the things we can learn from one another. These are the people who embody these qualities. These are the people we should search out, learn from them. It's not the case that we accept people or don't accept people. We're looking at actions. Then we look at our own actions. This is why the Buddha taught Rahula in the very beginning. Look at your actions. That's your mirror for learning what's skillful and what's not. When you find that you've done something that caused harm, even though you didn't intend to cause harm, you've learned, and you resolve not to repeat that mistake. You have a sense of shame around that action. And you're willing to consult other people about how not to repeat that mistake. When you find that you haven't been harmful, your attitude should be that you take joy in that fact, but then you continue training. Think of the Buddha on his way to awakening. As he said, the secret to his awakening was that he didn't rest content with his skillful qualities. To say nothing of unskillful qualities, even his skillful qualities, as long as they hadn't reached the end, he tried to improve himself. So it's a combination of taking joy in the good that you have been able to do, but not resting satisfied. And take joy in the fact that you're not satisfied. That's the mature attitude. The Buddha is not asking you to accept everybody or to accept yourself. He's asking you to be a mature adult. Training for the end of suffering. happy when you are able to be skillful, and happy that you have higher standards to get even better. Some people find higher standards to be oppressive. Like that Peanuts cartoon where Linus complains, there's no greater burden than great potential. That's a child's attitude. The mature attitude should be, you do have this potential, and you're glad that you're aiming at becoming better and better. You look back at what you've done already and you find that yes, you have made progress. So the question is not acceptance. After all, look at Angulimala. The Buddha didn't make it his business to accept Angulimala, but he saw that Angulimala had potential to become a good person in spite of his past. And he encouraged him in that direction. That's what goodwill really means. And those who are acting in unskillful ways come to their senses. Or as the Karunimetta Sutta says, may no one despise anyone anywhere, or wish for anyone to suffer. So goodwill doesn't mean, may you be happy as you are. It means, may you learn to be skillful. That's seeing you not as a static thing, and seeing other people not as static things. But as agents, able to change, able to learn through commitment and reflection. To go all the way to the end of suffering, which after all is a cheerful message. Those social scientists were totally off target. But we don't have to follow them. When I think of the possibility of happiness, there really isn't total happiness that's available. And we're capable of finding it. We should do our best to do whatever is needed to get there. And learn how to enjoy this process of looking back on your actions, being happy to see the times when you've been skillful, and happy that you're not content there. When you can manage that, then you've got the right attitude for the path.